that. Here's my question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Give me three teams that also had good weekends. We're taking Arizona. We're crowning them. We're putting them over here. Give me three teams you think also had great weekends, and then I'll give you three of mine.
All right, I'll give you three of mine. And we, for those watching right now live, you get to vote in the poll question. I know four of these teams that we're going to talk about are in the poll, including two of mine. So I think it's two of mine and two of GP. So two of mine are Tennessee and A&M that are in the poll question. Tennessee goes on the road, wins 80-70 at Wisconsin. It's a road win against a potential NCAA tournament team. Dalton Knecht, he was lauded when Tennessee got him, but like you have to really be you have to be into college basketball and really into the transfer portal. Like for even the invested college basketball fan, Dalton Knecht, who I ask you right now, if you're watching or listening, a trivia time at home, no cheating. Pause it for 20 seconds after I ask this and think and see if you can actually get it even after the season starts. Dalton Knecht transferred from? The answer, of course, is Northern Colorado. Of course. But I bring him up to say he had 24 points. It doesn't seem like it's outside the realm of possibility he's going to have a chance to be a top 5 transfer of impact if he's really going to give Tennessee this kind of dynamism on offense. And we'll see. You go on the road, you drop 80 and you're Tennessee, and it's at Wisconsin with the way that Bucky likes to play. I thought that was big. Santiago Vescovi only had 5 points in this game, GP, but Tennessee shot 59% inside the three-point line. Tennessee, a clear winner. Texas A&M, similar road win. Big Six power conference team, 73-66. It was a 3-man attack. I mean, Wade Taylor, Tyrese Radford, and Henry Coleman, contributed 62 of A&M's 73 points. Taylor was big, and this game was happening like right alongside Arizona and Duke. So I had that game on the iPad where I had Duke on the multi-view and was keeping up. So I was not as dialed into this. But Taylor, undeniably, who, I voted as a preseason first-team All-American, second-team All-American. He was big down the stretch, and he helped carry them. He had 21 points, 4 assists. Radford also had 21 points. Henry Coleman, the forward, to me, he's the one that might give A&M credence as the SEC contender. I mean, 20 points, 11 rebounds, and only 1 foul in 36 minutes on the floor. A&M navigated to that win despite 3 of 18 three-point shooting. Again, a road, Ohio State, we'll see. It's a positive development. A&M's next test at SMU on Tuesday night. And as for Ohio State, just a quick note, Bruce Thornton, he had 24 points. He's going to be a big breakout sophomore, but he might need to average more than 17 points a night to give Ohio State a viable chance at keeping pace in the middle of the pack in the Big Ten. And the other one I'm going to say is Clemson. They won the Asheville Championship. They went 2-0. They're 3-0 overall. They beat Davidson on Sunday, 68-65, after starting the game down 19-2 after Davidson beat Maryland. We will get to Maryland in a little bit on the pod. Davidson had 3 shots to tie the game to send it to OT with a triple, missed all 3. Clemson beat UAB and Davidson in 48 hours by a combined 4 points, but whatever. Brad Brownell on the hot seat entering the season yet again. He's 3-0, off to a good start. PJ Hall, Joe Girard, big transfer from Q's. Chase Hunter returns, and then RJ Godfrey was good off the bench. So for me, 3 big winners: A&M, Vols, Clemson.
Just real quick on Dalton Knecht, Northern Colorado transfer, 6'6", averaged 20.2 points and shot 38.1% from 3 last season on 6.3 attempts per game from beyond the arc. So he is an accomplished shooter. My point is he's averaging 20.5 points per game right now at Tennessee and shooting 54% from the field and like 30% from 3. He's not even shooting the ball well right now from beyond the arc, and still, I mean, he looks like he's Tennessee's best offensive player. We know Tennessee's physical. We know Tennessee can guard. Their issues last season, we talked about it from November to March, were that they just hit these games where they couldn't score enough to win. Like, what if Dalton Knecht is and you never know, like he's really not doing anything that he hasn't already done in college. It's just, you never know how it's going to translate from Northern Colorado to the SEC.
Yeah.
But he looks the part. Like right now, we're talking on March 1st. Dalton Knecht, Tennessee's best player. Looks.
It's on the table. How about that? And then and to me, and listen, you play Northern Colorado, fine. This isn't a jump up. This is a 2-level jump, and for him to be that impactful right away, and there was good preseason buzz. This is not out of nowhere, but he might actually wind up being the guy where it's like, well, damn, if Tennessee's going to have an offense with someone like this, then maybe things have changed. Again, we're early, but at least want to give him credit and give him some props for how he performed. That's a really nice one for the Vols.
He's one of the ones where, like, Alabama adds Grant Nelson. People get excited about that even before it happens. Gonzaga adds Steel Venters. People get excited about that like when it happens. This one was more of, okay, he scored a lot at the mid-major level. We'll see. But to your point, once he got on campus and you start talking to people around that program or who had been around that program, his name kept coming up. He was one where the hype built in the preseason after people were able to see him, practicing with other Tennessee players. And he's been, again, terrific through the first week of the season. He looks like he could be the missing piece to maybe, I'm not predicting it, but maybe Tennessee being the type of team that can, go to a Final Four for the first time in school history. I got 3 teams. I'll do them in alphabetical order as well that had good weekends in addition to Arizona. And I'll start with BYU. I mean, this is a team that you're not going to believe this. I picked San Diego State on Friday in the Final Four and won. BYU was picked 13th in the Big 12. 13th. They're now 2-0 with a win over San Diego State and up to 29th at KenPom. Now these two things aren't going to hold. You can't be top 30 at KenPom and then finish 13th in the Big 12. And you're not going to finish 13th in the Big 12 and be top 30 at KenPom. So they're not going to be both these things. But they are both these things right now. The team picked to finish 13th and top 30 at KenPom. Think about the Big 12. You're already the best league in the country in the computers, and now you've added Houston, which is second at KenPom, and BYU, which is 29th at KenPom. Dallin Hall, 6'4" sophomore, he got 18 points against San Diego State. He's come off the bench guy, averaged 7.2 last season. He's up to 12 points per game through 2 games this season. BYU, they could be the type of team that you look up on January 1 and they're ranked because they've got a record and a big win over San Diego State, and you look up on February 17th, and they are actually 13th in the Big 12 because somebody's going to have to finish down there, but off to a good start and worth keeping an eye on because where they were picked in the league by humans does not line up at all with where they are in computers right now. I only bring this next team because we had them on CBS Sports Network. So sometimes that's one of the benefits of being in studio. You are forced to pay attention to things that otherwise might be a little off your radar. We've got a double header on Friday night, and it's Duquesne-Charleston. And Duquesne beats them 90-72. Now, this is a Charleston program that won 31 games last season and is picked to win the CAA, although it's a different CAA.
It is. Another trivia time at home. Pause it after I ask the question. What is the new name for the CAA? Give yourself 15 seconds, see if you can get it, then unpause and continue the show.
It was the Colonial Athletic Association. And it is now the Coca-Cola Athletic Association.
It's not.
Yes, it is. I think it is.
It's not. Although, Lord knows, Coca-Cola has enough if it really wants to go after it. It wants to get the realignment of business and sponsoring. I believe it's the Coastal.
Yeah. I think it's Coca-Cola. We're going to have to double check.
Right, well, either way,
I would check. I just think we should probably check that.
Okay.
I heard it was the Coca-Cola Athletic Association. So Charleston is picked to win the Coca-Cola Athletic Association, and Duquesne just beat them by 18. Trivia time.
Oh, boy.
When's the last time Duquesne was in the NCAA tournament?
That's a good one. There's a chance I might have. I don't know if I had this in my capsule or not because I'll say. It's been a hot minute, GP. I'm going to blindly say 97.
You better blindly go back further.
It is 92.
You better blindly go further.
Are we into the 80s?
You better blindly go further.
No shot. The 70s?
1977. 2 months after baby GP arrived, Duquesne was in the NCAA tournament. And they got in that year by winning their league tournament. They sucked that year too. They just got in. They pulled a Dennis Felton at Georgia.
I thought you were going to give me.
It was 77.
Wow.
2 months after baby GP arrived, Duquesne was in the NCAA tournament. Do you realize I was 2 months premature too, Norlander? I shouldn't even been alive when Duquesne was in the NCAA tournament, but I came 2 months early.
Keep claiming that's your birth year, but I might need to see a birth certificate because I always thought you were 65, baby.
77. They said, the doctors told my mom, hey, he's only 3 pounds. He dropped down to 2. He's in an incubator. He might be slow to develop. So you'll need to be patient with him.
How's that working out for you?
Look at me. Look, do I look slow to develop? He might grow up to do peacock noises someday. The doctor set my mother down. They said he might grow up to do peacock noises someday, but don't be alarmed. He's 2 months premature.
I'm a sun devil.
Yeah, exactly.
He might think he's a sun devil. My whole life, I thought, you know what? I came out of this okay. And then you have to look yourself in the mirror and be like, I am a 46-year-old man doing sun devil impersonations. Am I really all right?
You tried to turn it around on everyone with Duke and Arizona, and how'd that work out for you?
Just not many things are going my way these days.
And you want to know, you would have been 1-4. I'm almost positive this is the case. You would have been 1-4 if not for you're supposed to pick against me in game 3, and I think we picked the same, and it was Miami, and it covered, so it saved you. Like, I think you actually.
Well, how am I 2-3 and you're 4-1? That doesn't make sense.
Because we picked 4 different games. Let me bring it up right now.
I know, but how could you be 4-1?
I'm bringing it up right now. If I will. All right. It was Arizona at Duke. The line was Duke -5.5. I picked Arizona cover 1-0. A&M at Ohio State. A&M was favored or a 1.5 point dog. I picked A&M. It won the game outright 2-0. Miami was a 9.5 point favorite at home. I picked the Canes. They covered 3-0. Tennessee was a 2.5 point road favorite. I took the Badgers at home. They were a dog. They didn't cover. I'm 3-1. And then BYU was a 1.5 point favorite at home against San Diego State. You took your Aztecs. I took BYU. The final score of that with a 1.5 point spread was 74-65. 4-1. Give it to me.
Okay, I went 2-3. Nothing's going my way. But hey, maybe I'll be the Duquesne of the Iron College Basketball Podcast. Maybe this is when I turn things around. Duquesne is up to 77th at KenPom. That's second in the A10, just a few spots below Dayton. Dayton, as you know, going to be shorthanded the rest of the year. No Malachi Smith.
Yeah.
Duquesne hasn't been to the tournament since 77, hasn't won a league title since 81. Keith Dambrot might be on his way to taking Duquesne to a place that hasn't been since I was a baby boy.
And yet that still might not be the pinnacle of Keith Dambrot's career for the young ones out there. The Duquesne head coach, who has been a D1 head coach 15 plus years now,
used to coach Victor Wembanyama.
The actual answer is LeBron James, once upon a win. So
I think it was
there
Wemby.
you go. There you go.
I think it was.
Who's your
Wemby.
third winner?
My Memphis Tigers.
I mean,
they went to Missouri. 70-55 true road game with Rick Stansberry on the sideline. Penny Hardaway still serving a 3-game suspension.
That's true. Memphis
got down double digits, stormed back. Javon Quinterly was terrific. And I just, you got to lead the top 25 and 1 with something on Saturday morning. And I didn't want to write about Arizona Duke because we had that covered. I try sometimes to just find something something else to write about other than what I know is already being written about. So I said, okay, this will be an opportunity to write about Memphis because 4 years ago, in year 2 of Penny Hardaway's college coaching career, he started 5 freshmen. And as far as I know, and anybody can feel free to fact check me on this, but nobody has ever been able to find another example, and I haven't either. When he started 5 freshmen, first game of his second season, the first time major coach in the history of college basketball to ever start 5 freshmen. People don't remember this. Even the Fab Five weren't the Fab Five until like either middle of January or February. They didn't start starting 5 freshmen until after the new year. Penny Hardaway did it in game 1 of year 2, and I believe became the first head coach to start 5 freshmen in the opening game of a season in the history of college basketball at the high major level. On Friday at Missouri, the average age of his top 5 scorers were 22.8. Javon Quinterly is 24, turns 25 later this month. Jordan Brown and Caleb Mills are both 23. Jordan Brown turns 24 this month. Jaquan Walton and David Jones are both 22. Memphis has 2 former McDonald's All-Americans that will be 24 and 25 years old on Selection Sunday. Has any team ever had multiple McDonald's All-Americans who are both 24 or older?
You've got 4 months to
I'm just saying, McDonald's All-Americans are never in school till they're 22.
I can't imagine. Well, once upon a time, players stayed a long time. I just don't think at that age it's ever happened before. But hey, I'd love to know.
2 McDonald's All-Americans, both 24 or older.
Seems exceedingly unlikely.
That will be where they are on Selection Sunday. They will have 2 McDonald's All-Americans, both 24 or older. So, now Memphis is 2-0. I moved the Tigers up to 21 in the top 25-1. Alabama State on Friday. Then it's the battle for Atlantis. They start with Michigan there. Then they play either Arkansas or Stanford. And then on the other side of the bracket, it's Carolina, Villanova, Texas Tech, Northern Iowa. Probably you're hoping to go 2-1 there. Like, you feel great if you come out of that 2-1. Arkansas's there. Carolina's there. If you can come out of that 2-1, you feel good, I think. They got additional non-league games with Ole Miss, VCU, Texas A&M, Clemson, Virginia, Vanderbilt, but off to a good start. They looked the part. I don't know how much of it you saw, but they just look big and old and physical, and like it's just contrasting. And a lot of times, and Penny gets bothered by this. I should say this. Penny doesn't like people always talking about DeAndre Williams is 27 years old, when they did. He doesn't like people. He feels like it's mocking his players. I don't think it's mocking them as much as just like stating a fact. Somebody's 6'2", somebody's 7'1", somebody's a junior, somebody's a freshman, somebody's 19, somebody's 25, whatever. I actually think you should applaud, if you're a Memphis fan, what Penny Hardaway has done. Too many coaches have not recognized that the game has changed dramatically. And yet here's a guy who went from trying to recruit the best high school players he could get and start them all at the same time to now. I don't want to say he doesn't want high school players. He did sign a 4-star prospect, just ain't on campus because he's facing 9 felony gun charges. I'm not saying he doesn't want high school players anymore. I'm just saying to go from in year 2 starting 5 freshmen to 4 years later going to Missouri and winning with 5 guys being your leading scorers who are all 22 or older. It just shows the difference in approach and philosophy. And to bottom line this, I think this way is going to work better than the last way. I think this team's good.
Yeah, I think you're probably going to be on about that. You covered Memphis real quick on Missouri. Just an odd one. I did watch most of the game. This was just no doubt about it win for Memphis and no doubt about it loss for Mizzou. Tigers walked in and they straight up kicked butt, dude. Maybe it's going to take Gates a little bit of time here to determine roles and rotation. Dude, Missouri scored 0.79 points per possession. That is putrid. And the anemia was aided by the fact they only had 5 offensive boards. So we'll see on the Tigers. I think Dennis Gates is a really good coach, and I expected them to very much be in the conversation to return to the NCAA tournament in year 2 for him after they got there with ease in year 1. We'll see. And then just to put a bow on it with BYU, Cougars had 3 guys off the bench in double digits scoring, which was big. And then Fousseyni Traore, he continues to be just really one of like the more, and part of this was BYU wasn't great last season, but he does just so many things. He's a really, really fun player to watch for BYU. On certain nights, he's certainly the best player. And other nights, he can play like this glue guy plus kind of role. Really, really awesome. And BYU just, had the home court advantage. It was no doubt about it. That's why it took him to win and cover. That's why I took him. But GP, he let his emotions and his personal philosophies about premarital, and of course, get in the way, and it'll get you sometimes. Me, I separated it, and I thought, you know what, BYU, that home floor, early season, all that pent up, just what I'm talking about in the building.
Yeah,
it would benefit BYU, and then
buddy,
hold it did.